It's on our website. It's not what you wanted on the website. I need you to click on the link I emailed you and hit share. It's on there. Thank you.
Это тяжелый момент. Дети в колледж поехали, там сами себе отвезли. Еще там даже. А девочек через 2 недели в разные стороны.
Малолетние только приехали неделю назад. Я вспоминала у них. Хочу покрасить. Я вылечку серьезно.
Как будто это знакомое все.
Ну, как бы я же маленькая.
Они были год назад, по-моему.
А детей я вижу только на Фейсбуке. Такие красавицы.
На Фейсбуке.
Но на Фейсбуке они есть на Фейсбуке. Там фотокарточки.
На Фейсбуке давно не видела. На этом Инстаграме.
Нет, наверное,
Ну, маленькие.
но, может быть, и не последний, но и не... Нет, да?
Я не там ни разу не встречала.
Меня сын наш самый высокий.
А что старше?
Ladies and gentlemen, can I ask everyone to put your cell phones to silent? The funeral service will be conducted by Cantor Pavel Reitman from Beth Hillel B'nai Emunah.
Friends, we have gathered here today for a sad occasion. We have come to bid farewell to Sofia Shnitman, beloved sister, mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, and friend. A good and decent woman who is going to be missed by many. At this time, our thoughts and sympathies go to Sofia's family. We share in their sense of loss and pray that they find much-needed comfort in the days and weeks to come. As it has been our custom, we begin with passages and psalms appropriate for this occasion. These readings have been a source of comfort and spiritual support to our ancestors in their times of need. And today we too turn to their time-tested wisdom and insight. Adonai Ma'adam, Lord, what are we that you have regard for us? What are we that you are mindful of us? We are like breath, our days are a passing shadow. We come and go like grass which in the morning shoots up renewed, and in the evening fades and withers. You cause us to revert to dust, saying, return, O mortal creatures. Would that we were wise, that we understood where we are going. For when we pass, we carry nothing away. Our glory does not accompany us. Mark the wholehearted and behold the upright. They shall have peace. Lord, you redeem the souls of your servants, and none who trust in you should be desolate. Esainai v'chalim me'ayin Ezri, Ezri me'im Adonai Yosei shamayim va'aretz. Aliten lamot raglecha al yanum shomrecha. Kinei lo yanum v'lo yishan shomer Yisrael. I turn my eyes to the mountains, from where will my help come? My help comes from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. The Lord will not let your foot give away, your guardian slumber. The guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. We're continuing with words of the 23rd Psalm, otherwise known as the Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, giving me repose in green meadows, leading me beside the still waters to revive my spirit, guiding me on the right path for what's God's essence. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will feel no evil, for you are with me. Your staff and your rod comfort me. You prepare a banquet for me in the presence of my foes. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and kindness shall be my portion all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Adonai roi lo echsar min adeshe yarbitzeni anmei menukot yinachaleni nafshi shaveh yishaveh yancheni v'magnei tzedek yancheni v'magnei tzedek leman shemo gam ki elech begeitz al-mavet lo yira'at yadayim madi shiftecha umishantecha yemayna kamoni taroch lefanai shulchan neged sorerai nishanta vashem roshi kosi revaya ach tof v'chesed yerlefoni kol yemei chayai v'shavti beit Adonai leorech yamim. Adonai roi lo echsar. Adonai roi lo echsar. In thinking about Sofia, or as she was affectionately called, Sofia Shnitman, I cannot help but to recall a song from the early 1920s called My Yiddish Shemama. Translated from Yiddish to English, it reads something like this. My Yiddish Shemama, I need her more than ever now. My Yiddish Shemama, I'd like to kiss her wrinkled brow. I long to hold her hands once more as in days gone by, and ask her to forgive me for things I did that made her cry. How few were her pleasures, she never cared for fashion styles. Her jewels and treasures, she found them in her baby smiles. Oh, I know that I owe what I am today to that dear little lady, so old and gray, to that wonderful Yiddish mama, mamala, mine. I find these words particularly fitting in describing our own Yiddish mama, our Sofia, for she too was a quintessential Yiddish mama, a kind and loving woman who in so many ways set an example for others to follow and to behold. Hers was not an easy journey. Like many of her generation, Sofia's life was deeply affected by war. There were other obstacles along the way. But this strong and courageous woman survived and persevered, and in the end found a way to live a full and meaningful life. It is that life that we celebrate here today, as we give tribute to this wonderful woman by sharing our memories and stories of her. May her memory be an everlasting blessing. Sofia was born in 1930 in Kalinkovice, Belarus, to Shlomo Chaim and Fagel, to hardworking and caring parents. She was one of 5 children and enjoyed growing up with her 3 brothers, Samuel, Simeon, and Arkady, and sister Ida, whom she loved dearly. Unfortunately, by now, most of her siblings passed away. The only one left is Arkady, who mourns with us today. And Arkady, please accept my deepest condolences. May the memories of your sister be a source of comfort to you in the days and weeks to come. There are many memories of Sofia. Some of them go back to her childhood in Kalinkovice, where she grew up and went to school. Other not so happy ones go back to the times of war, when Sofia and her loved ones had to flee home and escape the advancing German army. She was only 11 years old when she and her family members had to be evacuated on a freight train traveling east. This was in many ways a scary and arduous journey. Threat of bombardments, shortage of necessities, and fear were just some of the things Sofia experienced along the way. In the case of evacuation, one of her brothers got lost. Luckily, he was soon found, and together they made it to their final destination at the time, Stalingrad. From there, the family traveled to Tbilisi, Georgia, where they had an aunt who graciously took them in. There, they were safe from the Nazis, but there were other challenges along the way. The family shared a small living space with Sofia's aunt and her family. And although she was a kind and caring woman, she did not have much to offer in terms of necessities and food. To survive, they cooked potato peels and shared it with each other. The feelings of depravity and hunger were so strong that Sofia kept them in her memory for the rest of her life. As her loved ones shared with me, she often referred to that time as the horror of horrors, one that she was never able to forget. Yet she survived and persevered, and this is what truly mattered. As the war came to a close, Sofia and her loved ones came back to Kalinkovice and found the place in ruins. Their house was no longer there, and for a while the family lived in a dugout shelter until the suitable housing was built. Some time passed and the life slowly came back. Sofia finished school, attended pedagogical college from which she graduated as a teacher of biology and natural science. She soon began to teach and earned much appreciation and love from her colleagues and students alike. She also found her creative streak by becoming an actress in the local theater. This was something she liked to do as a true lover of music and arts. This beautiful, smart, optimistic, and forward-thinking woman was really finding her place in life. The only thing that was missing at the time was a family of her own. And that too soon became a reality as Sofia met Isak, a good-looking young man who came to visit from Tbilisi and stayed in her life forever. They were cousins, and because of it had much in common. In addition, they truly completed each other as they gradually became one another's loving partners and friends. Sofia loved Isak's sense of humor, his kindness, and his looks. He too loved the way she looked and the way she laughed and carried herself in an upbeat and straightforward manner. Soon the two of them got married, and once their children, Alex and later Michael, were born, their relationship truly became complete. Both parents loved their children dearly, but it was Sofia who played a special role in her son's life. A few days ago in our conversation, Michael shared some of his childhood memories with me. He spoke of his mother with reverence and love, and with much gratitude for everything she had done for him and to his brother since they were little kids. From Michael's words, Sofia played a key role in her children's upbringing. She took care of them and taught them the ways of the world, doing so with dignity and poise. Sofia made sure that her sons had ample opportunities to be successful in life. For Michael, she found the right school to help him develop his talents in physics and math. She did the same for Alex as his interests in sports and other passions began to take shape. In addition, Sofia encouraged the children to study music, something that they resisted at the time, and shared with them her love for theater and arts. As Michael shared in our conversation, Sofia did a lot to foster the feelings of friendship, love, and respect between the two brothers. And this was one of her biggest achievements as a parent. Sofia also managed the family budget and taught her children to work if they wanted to get something in life. This taught both Michael and Alex to become independent and self-sufficient, something that I'm sure became a foundation of their life as adults. When it was their turn to have children, Sofia was there to help and support. She adored her grandchildren, and they loved her in return. Sofia took care of them when they were little and spent time with them while balancing between family and work. She also cooked many a delicious meal for her grandchildren to enjoy. In a few moments, we will hear from Sofia's grandchildren, and I'm sure that they will share many beautiful memories of Babushka and of the times that they've shared together. Sofia's role as a grandparent and parent was deeply intertwined with her role as a teacher outside of her family life. Moving to Tbilisi shortly after her marriage, Sofia decided to become more qualified as a pedagogue. To fulfill her goal, she attended Tbilisi's prestigious Pushkin's Pedagogical Institute, from which she graduated with honors. Post-graduation, she embarked on a 40-year-long teaching career, working at the same school all throughout this time. As Michael's wife shared with me in our conversation, Sofia had many opportunities to advance in the ranks and to find a better paying job. But being a committed and loyal person, she continued to teach in the same school for many years until her immigration to the United States. America truly became Sofia's second home. As her loved ones eloquently put it, it was as if Sofia became young again, as she enthusiastically embraced her new American life. At the age of 61, she began to attend Truman College, and for 6 years actively took classes and learned the language, achieving a level of proficiency unheard of for immigrants of her age. Sofia also found friends in the building where she lived and beyond. She studied ceramics, took long walks at the lakefront, explored the city, and traveled around the country and the world. Israel was one of Sofia's favorite places to visit. It was there where she could reconnect with her family, some of whom made Israel their home. Much of what she did in the first several years in the U.S., Sofia shared with her beloved Isaac, her second half and her true partner in crime. That is why when he got sick and eventually declined, it took a toll on her. She took care of Isaac as much as she could, and when he regretfully passed in 1999, she mourned him deeply. Losing Isaac must have been devastating for her, yet, as I mentioned earlier, she was a strong-willed and independent woman, and as the period of mourning ended, she returned to life. For almost 23 years since Isaac's passing, this resilient and fiercely independent woman continued to be a presence in her family's life. She never took anything for granted, never asked for help, but instead saved money to give it to her grandchildren. She had a generous heart and loved to shower her grandchildren with gifts. Sofia also continued to cook for her loved ones, making her favorite dishes, pirashki, linchiki, medavik, and Napoleon, surely something she will be remembered by. In the last 6.5 years of her life, Sofia struggled with declining health. Yet, even in these 6.5 years, she continued to be, as her loved ones put it, a true stoic, as she endured pain and medical complications without a single complaint. She left this world with dignity and grace, the same kind of dignity and grace that made her so dear to those around her in the world. And as she entered eternity, she left behind the beautiful memory of the life that once was, and of a loving and caring woman whose legacy is everlasting. As I have mentioned earlier, I did not personally know Sofia, but there are people here who know her, and I'm going to invite members of the family to share their reflections with us.
Hi guys. Sorry, I will say in Russian because first words, mama, I heard from my mom. Спасибо большое, прежде всего, за то, что вы здесь. И всем большое еще раз спасибо, кто смотрит. Что говорить? У меня осталось много, очень много мемори моей мамы. И все, что сказал Рабай, it's true. И добавить можно только индивидуальные memory, или так по-русски называют. Я считаю себя счастливым, потому что 71 год жить с мамой, я желаю всем этого. Да, здесь, в Америке, действительно, она обрела вторую молодость и была очень independent и очень, как сказать по-русски, outgoing person. Всех, кого она встречала, когда я с ней был, докторов, там, знакомых или что, она всегда говорила, это мой старший, это моя внучка. Доставала фотографии из своей сумки, она там всегда была. Попозже она говорит, у тебя нет новых? Тогда, когда был телефон уже, селфон. Я ей показывал по селфону, уже правильно. Ну, так что вот такие вот были дела. Очень много мемори с правнуками, местными, так сказать, с внуками. Одна из таких, когда Давид был маленький, и она следила за ним, очень много он бегал. И она, когда давала ему кушать, она говорит, я не могу за тобой бегать, говорит. Он говорит, а сколько тебе лет, что ты делаешь? На тот момент она говорит, 62, 63. Он говорит, слушай, ты такая старая, уже пора и умирать. Ну, спасибо, Дэвид. Ты дал ей энергию, она прожила еще 30 лет. Так что вот так. Очень много мемори, которые мы будем помнить, и это останется в наших сердцах. Еще раз спасибо. И что еще могу сказать? Когда я с ней очень много беседовал последние месяцы, когда она еще могла что-то говорить, всех вспоминала, всех спрашивала, очень интересовалась всеми внуками, братьями, которые у нее остались в Израиле. И она просила, чтобы на моих, так сказать, похоронах никто не плакал, а всегда вспоминали меня такая, как есть. Мы будем помнить ее такой красивой, как она есть. И отдать должное ее жизни, красивой, счастливой. Я попрошу вас тоже вместе со мной поаплодировать ей. Спасибо.
I don't pretend to speak Russian. My mom had a long and hard life, but at the same time it was a happy life. It was a happy life because she was very, very optimistic woman. And she had her family to rely on, her family to share her life story, her happiness with everyone, and that's what she did. Her family was most important thing for her. She didn't leave much for us, not real estate, not expensive jewelry, not really money, but she left something more important. And her inheritance, that's what I'm going to talk about. Alex, for example, got her good looks, up until he had his hair. And he also got this ability to reach out to people far and away. He keeping in touch with people. That's what he got, I I got her love for theater and goulettes, long walks. It's almost addiction to me. I also learned that family is the most important thing you have in your life. When Lena showed up in our family, she became a daughter my mom always wanted. And my mom loved her more than me. At the end, when she kind of was losing it, she was asking me, who's your wife? Lena? Oh, you're Lena's husband. Okay. And Lena got her skills in cooking from my mom, making wonderful Georgian food. That's great in health. It's the best one. Rena got, Alice's daughter got the lifelong earning for learning. She started as a nurse. She graduated, got a master's degree, and even PhD. She works as a head nurse in Israel. Zinочка, who looks most like grandma out of the whole family. She was her favorite because she brought her up really. Because we had no clue, we were too young, and Zina was brought up by Baba. And Zina got her fierce independence, sense of independence, also her kindness, love for the family and siblings, especially. David, who Grandma brought when we were in the United States, again, very busy with our new immigrant lives. Grandma was bringing him up. He was a tiny little boy. What he got from Grandma is his kindness and really like loving everyone. And Kerry, my mom said that we got a $1 million lottery ticket when Kerry was born here in the United States. And she learned a lot from Baba, from Grandma, especially her baking skills. But she had to master that Napoleon. So we have a lot from my mom, all of us, and it will be staying with us forever. Thank you, Mom.
I'm sorry to take so much time, but we all volunteered with Cantor. We wanted to say something about Sofia because she was such an essential part of our life. And I'll try to keep it short and sweet. We are celebrating her life more than grieving because she was just very upbeat and a happy woman all her life. I will say a few words in Russian at the end to make sure people who are watching us from Israel, from other countries are able to understand. I put goodbye to Sofia Yefimovna. I would like to share with you my memories of my mother-in-law with you. For everyone else, she was Sofia, Sonia, Sonichka, but for me, she was Sofia Yefimovna. I met her shortly after I started dating Michael. His parents wanted to meet me, and there was a sense of urgency. My first impression after meeting Michael's mom, she was a short, confident woman with a commanding voice and thick glasses. Basically typical teacher. She was brutally honest with me and told me what her 25-year-old son, Michael, goes out every night after work, comes home late, and she cannot sleep well. She had a lot of sleepless nights waiting for Michael to come home. So she is really worried about him and came up with a solution. He has to get married. The sooner the better. She proceeded by listing all his childhood illnesses and aches. She did not hide anything from me. It was a lot. So what I have a full picture of what I was getting myself into. My reaction, feeling intimidated. Should I stay or should I go? Should I run? Fortunately, I decided to stay. Eventually, Sofia Yefimovna won me over, but by making my favorite food, no matter how elaborate it was. Gefilte fish was always on the table when I was visiting, and everyone here knows it's a lot of work. She actually became more than my mother-in-law. She became my mother for the last 40 years. Her life was not easy. A lot had happened, from experiencing World War II as a child to immigrating to the United States at the age of 61. The last 6.5 years of her life were especially difficult. Through all this, she stayed optimistic, upbeat, and brave. Being independent all her life, she never wanted to overload us with her needs. She gave us love and asked for nothing back. I'm very lucky to have a mother-in-law like her. Contrary to first impression, she was wonderful and always a class act. I need to say goodbye to Sofia Yefimovna today. Thank you for everything you gave me. I will remember you and love you forever. Farewell. Just few words in Russian. Мы сегодня прощаемся с Софией Ефимовной, кто была моей свекровью. У нас уже хуже английский, чем русский, чем английский, нам немножко трудно говорить, наверное. Но все, кто ее знал, все уважали ее и любили. Она была женщиной, которая очень мало требовала внимания к себе. Она скорее любила отдавать. И все, что она делала для семьи, для моих детей, это просто нельзя передать словами. Она дала, собственно говоря, Мише и мне возможность учиться, работать, стать на ноги. Иммиграция — это очень нелегко. И вот благодаря ей все случилось так, как случилось. Мы ей очень благодарны. Мы будем скучать, мы будем вспоминать ее, она останется в наших сердцах навсегда. Спасибо большое, Сонечка, и до свидания.
I'll start by saying thank you everyone for coming today, and thank you Cantor for giving such a beautiful speech about our grandmother's life. What can you say about Baba that hasn't already been said? She was such a wonderful grandmother, the most giving person, always had food for us, was giving us extravagant birthday gifts. Even when we first moved to the United States, I remember going to stay with her at her apartment, and she would take us to the dollar store and buy us little pieces of candy just to make us feel special. She was extremely loving and spent so much of her time raising David and I when we were very young, and also just taking care of us for the rest of our lives. Whenever she was around us, she was always looking out for us. She's very well known for her cooking, as has been mentioned many times, and it was very special to be able to spend time in the kitchen with her, watching her both, make her various polygons and blinchiki, and also help her out, as she always liked to teach me what she was doing when she was in the kitchen. Music was a very important part of her life, and she was always teaching us different songs. poems when we were growing up, different Yiddish words. You know, she was a really great source of culture and information, and she loved to pass that along to us. One thing that I really appreciated as we got older was hearing about her childhood and the struggles that she went through during the war, and just getting that background on how she became the person that she ended up being, and how she was still so positive and made an amazing life for herself, even despite all of the challenges that she went through as a young girl. And I think, you know, the happiest memories that I have of my grandmother are from when we were growing up, and, you know, as we were getting older, when she was still healthy. But I think what was really beautiful was even in the nursing home, we would go visit her, and, you know, we would always ask her to sing songs to us, and she would start singing. She just came back to life. She was so happy to have visitors and to be singing the songs of her childhood. So I'm happy that those are the memories that I have even at the end of her life. She was a wonderful person, and she will be greatly missed.
Yeah, what more can be said? I know that she would be very happy to see her friends and family here together celebrating her on this sad occasion. My grandma was very tough and brave. She never learned how to drive a car or ride a bike, but she never walked the streets of her neighborhood uptown scared or concerned. At age 60, she left her home to immigrate to Chicago. It just blows my mind to do that. At 60, you should be thinking about all the golf you're gonna play and the time you're gonna have with family, and she just uprooted her life. Ari and I, we struggle with the idea of moving off of our street in Highland Park. But we're so comfortable, we have such deep roots, but she left her home at age 60. It's unbelievably brave. She was so urban, and she managed to get around. As I said, she never knew how to drive a car, but she would take the Metro to visit our family once we moved to Lake Bluff. And, you know, one day she proved too brave. I remember getting a call from Dina one afternoon. David, we lost Baba. She had missed the Lake Bluff train stop and decided to get off in Waukegan and walk home. We found her walking along the tracks in North Chicago, not very concerned. She was very, very brave. But she was also very caring and family-oriented. There was no such thing as a nanny when I was a little kid. Baba was our nanny. She cared for Dina and I every day. And she made life in her 650 square foot apartment seem vast and endlessly fun, because she encouraged our imagination and our creativity. Now with my own children, I have a great appreciation for the effort it takes to raise kids. When I see my own parents or my in-laws taking care of my daughters, I remember myself and the time and love I got from Baba. It really takes a village. I'm so honored and so happy that she got to meet my wife before she became too sick, to meet my older daughter Tatum before she passed. And those are the memories I'll always have of her and think of when I think of her.
Okay. Safe to say that I had a bit of a different experience from my siblings growing up with our grandma, being so much younger. We had a different relationship, but despite getting older, as I was born and as I was growing up, she always made an effort to be super active, caring, and attentive towards me. Every time we would go to her apartment in Chicago, or she would take the train to visit us, I had the best time. My favorite thing she would do is every year on my birthday, she'd make me the Medovik, or the honey cake, as I would call it, which I recently learned is a lot of work to make. It took me 2 hours to try to make an attempted version of it a couple months ago, and it just did not live up to it. So I know that she always put the utmost amount of care into everything she did when raising them and taking care of me. I'll miss her a lot, but there are a lot of reminders of her in my life, especially through my family, and I'll always try to be as kind-hearted, funny, and loving as her, and try to keep her memory alive.
The song that I quoted in the beginning of my speech was incidentally made famous by another Sofia, Sofia Tucker, who was a famous Yiddish singer. My Yiddish Mama, I need her more than ever now. My Yiddish Mama, I'd like to kiss her wrinkled brow. I long to hold her hands once more, as in days gone by, and ask her to forgive me for things I did that made her cry. A few were her pleasures, she never cared for fashion styles. Her jewels and treasures, she found them in her baby's smiles. Oh, I know that I owe what I am today to that dear little lady, so old and gray, to that wonderful Yiddish Mama, 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 mine. Please rise. במעלות קדושים ופורים כזוהר הרקיע מזכירים את נשמת סופיה בת שלמה ופגה שדרכה לעולמה בגן עדן כמנוחתה הרבה לרחמים אסירך בסדר כנפך לעולמים וצרור בצרור כחיים את נשמתה אדוני הוא נחלתה ותנוח בשלום על משכבה ונאמר Amen. Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and the pure, to the soul of our dear Sophia, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. Amen. Please be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, in just a moment we're going to take the casket to the gravesite. After the interment, the family's inviting everyone back to Saranella's at the Westin Hotel in Wheeling. That's at Milwaukee and Lake Cook. At this time, if I could ask everyone to please rise, and if any gentleman would like to come and act as pallbearers, please come forward. I have a couple of gentlemen on this side, please.